TNT, episode 9. Tommy, we got our first guest on today.
Hello,
Taylor
boys.
Johnson.
All right, big dog.
How's that, awesome, mate?
This is great, man. Bit surreal, boys. I'm loving this, and again, you guys know how appreciative I am, but I want to extend it once again and say thank you to both of you for having me on.
You might not say that by the end of this.
No,
mate.
you know what? I remember watching the first podcast, and I messaged you both straight away, and I was very impressed. And you know, like I've said to you guys, I've been following along the way. Mm-hmm. And it's nice to be the first guest, man. It's cool. Yes. It's cool. And I
don't
just
want to be new, mate.
Again. I know.
Speaking of following away, we need to do our usual. Like, subscribe, follow.
Yep, definitely, man.
We have followers and listeners all over the world now, like we spoke about. We've got a guy in Brazil who's probably on the run.
No
he's been
doubt.
listening to the podcast.
I was going to say hello in Portuguese. I don't know how. So good luck to you, sir.
Obrigado.
Is it obrigado?
Or is that how it...
I don't know.
Spanish,
though, was it?
Spanish.
Ciao.
Merci.
Anyway, obviously, first boy on. One today. Main rationale getting behind you and getting you on is because how much you've achieved. I still scratch my head that you're only 27 years old. Not because how big you are and how much you're obviously developed, it's your ability to coach and your maturity. I'll stick up your ass a wee bit here. But these, it was kind of made sense for both of us, just for like young guys listening, whether they're coaches, training, just to kind of take a wee insight how you've worked, where you've been, your story more than anything. So we're going to dive into that. But first things first, we have a surprise I've heard from somebody.
Yes, we're very lucky. We have a wee surprise from ours truly, Pit Stop. I have been told not to open this until right this very second, so
Okay.
hang tight. I have no idea what this is. I've been told that it's nothing that's going to scare me or pop out. So.
That's ideal.
Yeah,
Imagine you opened it and it was like,
Oh yeah, that's
confetti everywhere.
That's what I was worried about. I did say
All his
so.
sex toys full out.
I know. Don't excite me.
Interesting.
Oh, hello. Thank you, Father Pit Stop. What do we have here?
What do we have? Holy crap, man. Oh, what?
It's like Christmas all over again, boys. Rise and shine.
The hangover cure.
In both strawberry and peach iced tea.
That's sick, man.
We have
not
something
tried
else.
the
Oh, we
strawberry
have more things. Hold on, we've got a couple of shakers. Because I've lost 1 million of them, which, like everyone else, probably
You can
has.
never have enough, mate, can you know?
Oh, we have a letter to read as well, boys.
Holy crap, man. This is like Christmas, man.
I know.
This is like Santa's letter back to us.
Oh.
Read it.
Dear Tommy and Tony, oh wow, we have a proposal for you. How about giving your podcast listeners something extra? We'd love to sponsor TNT Talk and offer your audience an exclusive discount for Pit Stop. It's a win-win. They get a great deal. Your podcast gets even more love and maybe some rise and shine money too.
Brilliant.
No cheesy jingles or awkward plugs. Just something that feels as natural as your podcast itself. What do you think? Should Taylor officially welcome you to the team? Lots of love, Pit Stop. P.S. If so, your code is TNT10. Oh,
Hey!
Come on,
that's so nice.
I'm buzzing with that.
I'm so glad that I got to do that.
That's fucking
Brilliant.
sick,
This
man.
is cool, but like having you boys on and doing something like this, I mean, will you accept?
Absolutely.
Undoubtedly,
Taylor,
mate.
it could have went two ways. It was either going to be a sponsor with the amount I've been pestering Neil or a restraining order. So I'm glad it went in the way we wanted because we were hounding the poor guy.
Aye, we were, man.
Me
Mate,
saying
that's
something.
actually class, man.
There we go.
I'm buzzing with that.
We're in.
I swear I've told you this, man, but I've been pushing you guys as much as what I could. You guys
Aye,
are
mate, we
awesome.
appreciate you, man,
You guys
massively.
are awesome. It's a family, mate, and I think it's important that the same people are. I know that sounds a bit iffy, but it's good seeing good people getting good opportunities come their way. You know, you guys work hard for it, and well done. I'm proud of you both.
That guy, man.
Thank you,
Thank
mate.
you, mate. So there you go.
See, before we jump into the podcast, actually told Neil when I was last in, I bought the night, and I said, I'm somebody I like to take something for the full tub. And
For reference, night is a sleep supplement.
that's right.
In case you didn't know.
So I did it, and I said I'll do a review on it on my my Instagram, but I thought I'd better do it on this. Mate, sorry for all the female listeners, but I'm going to tell you my experience with night. So I was taking it for like 3 or 4 nights, and I'm waking up with fucking the biggest morning glory every fucking morning. And I'm looking going like, maybe it's because Molly's down the road now, I'm maybe missing her, blah, blah, blah. But mate, I was like a fucking 16-year-old again. So like,
Right,
that's
I've never had that. Can I have your tub, please?
That's my general review.
I feel like you must be laced with something, man, and I want it.
Mate, so I think Neil's sales are going to shoot through the roof. I think you should actually call it Rise and Shine. Yeah. His name's mixed up, because that's exactly how I felt.
Oh, what fun.
I didn't want to tell him that face to face when I seen him. I said, I'll leave it and do a review
Well, there's
online. But
another
that's
benefit.
generally,
There's
I
another
thought it was maybe
benefit.
the quality of sleep or the ashwagandha in it, but I've changed nothing in my thing apart from adding that in. And I'm feeling like a young bull again.
I mean, if you think of it logically, if you're seeing improvements to sleep quality,
Yep.
you're going to see improvements to your overall well-being, your overall state of stress. And guess what? Come on. Come on. So I wouldn't be surprised. And I'm sure there could very well be ingredients in there that are going to more of like a vasodilator, going to open everything up and get good blood flow.
Yep.
Especially to your dick.
Neil's going to go to his work on this because it's just going to be a queue of guys all the way down the street.
Yeah. Is Bonnie Blue making an appearance in what's it called? What's that place called? Where they host the pit stop shop? Morris Park.
Aye, that's it.
Bonnie Blue's having an appearance at Morris Park.
That's hilarious, man.
So that's my experience with it. So boys, get yourself down there.
Aye, get some night. TNT 10.
There we go.
Definitely.
There we go.
Oh, that's class, man. I'm buzzing with that, mate.
There we go.
That's awesome.
Pervert. Anyway, into the main guy.
Ooh.
First of all, let's find out who's Taylor. What do you do? Background, we obviously know you for a personal level, but for anyone not
So
listening.
just a brief rundown in terms of where I am presently. I would say that I am a 27-year-old. I have been heavily involved in the bodybuilding sphere for a wee while now. I am a full-time online coach, is the be-all and end-all for me, to be honest with you. I don't really have anything else that I do apart from lift, train, coach, and sleep and eat. I'm incredibly blessed. I'm incredibly lucky to have found this. I specifically coach more of the bodybuilders.
Yeah.
I'm not into the high rocks. Granted, if you want to do it, do it. Functional, you want to do it. Whatever floats your boat, that is entirely up to you.
Yeah.
This is my forte. This is my strength. This is where my enjoyment resides. And I've been kind of going all in, for at least the past 6 years, something such as that. And the plan is just to keep on going and going and going. World domination.
Is there you sometimes speak to coaches that do bodybuilding. Is there a wee itch in you to ever try anything like that? Or is it, I've tried it, maybe not, but
In
some
terms
people
of-
say when they stop bodybuilding, they want to do a high rocks, they want to do this, they want to...
So I believe it or not, so like my sporting background is incredibly varied. So I think I started off doing like martial arts, man. Like when I was
Did you?
right young, I think it was like taekwondo or judo.
Right, okay.
Just everyone does it when they're
Aye,
a kid, right?
I get that, aye.
I think you just feel like the buzz when you've got yourself your like white piece thing on. You know what I mean? I felt like I was ready for anything, but I was awful at it. This is like a reoccurring theme with me, dude. It's
Okay.
like, see, when I was growing up,
Yeah.
I would just go through little phases. I was just trying to find out what I wanted to do.
Yep.
So I started off with, the whole fucking judo, taekwondo. I did a little bit of Thai when I was younger with my dad. I then played a bit of football, but I think I probably did football for the wrong reasons. I feel like Scotland, as a child, it's like you play football.
Yes,
That's what you
definitely.
do, right?
Aye.
So I gave that a whirl. Had 2 left feet, awful. Played defence. I think that says it all, right? You know what I'm saying? Those that can't play defence. And then I was like, I suck at sports, man. What am I going to do? I was like, I'm a bigger boy, so I was like, let's just give rugby a whirl.
Aye. I
And,
thought I was going to go that way there, to be honest.
And rugby and me just like clicked. Like
Right,
that
okay.
was it, man. Like and I don't know about you guys, right? But like I am a bit of a fantasist.
Right,
so see,
okay.
as soon as I pick up something, I'm like, I'm gonna take over the world. I'm gonna be the best. Bro, I can do it. Like, can try it once and see if I enjoy it, mate. Like I've go down this like wormhole I'm taking over. I'm going to rest. And I was far from it. I was incredibly humbled. You know, see, when I started playing, I started when I was about 12, 13, and all these boys were even playing. So I couldn't pass a ball worth a fuck. I couldn't do anything. It was, and there's technique to it. You know what I mean? Like everyone, have you tried to throw a rugby ball?
I remember, like, I done it in PE at school, mate, and again, mate, I'm a big guy in that, man. I'm fucking filled with hot dogs for the van, mate. Man, I'm going to smash this, mate. Fucking shit, man. But, mate, it's actually kind of hard. You need to, like, twist the ball or some shit.
It's on the wrist. It's on the wrist. But then I started playing that, and I was awful. And I actually left feeling quite embarrassed. I was like, I don't know if I can do it again. Right. But from like a young age, even though I've hopped about, the tone of conversation between me and my father has been like, look, you got to keep on trying. If it doesn't work the first time, you're not going to nail it out the gate. I was like, you got to keep on working and working and working. And like I said, I had this like immediate vision as soon as I started playing, because I felt good. I felt like when I had the ball in my hands, I don't know, it felt more organic for me. Yeah. You know, I could get the ball, I could just run at people. Great. If someone's running at me, I'll just grab them, put them on the floor. Let's get it going. Good fun. But I was off to begin with, and then I started building and building and building, and I had this vision of where I wanted to go. So I can remember playing, and then the kind of Glasgow trials came about, and then the first time I went, I was terrified. Didn't get into the development squad, and I left. I can remember crying when I got the email through saying, I was like 16 at the time. Okay, I'm not a little bit, I'm still quite young, but and then I was all right. 25 at the time. I know. I remember getting it. I remember. I've actually never told anyone this, so it's nice getting the opportunity to speak about this sort of stuff. Yep. But I was distraught. I was embarrassed. I was like, I'm not good enough. And I was like, right, next time this happens, dude, you're making it. You're making it. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what had happened. But over the course of that year, I ended up captaining the team that I was playing for. I ended up making the Glasgow squad. And from there, unfortunately, I picked up a series of shoulder injuries. And that knocked my confidence. The thing is like, see, when it's all fine and well playing club, but when you go into the regional level, you're playing with the best of the best, and you're playing against the best of the best. And if you are not confident, if you don't have that confidence to throw yourself into tackles and into boys, you're asking for trouble. Yep. And I was always a little bit stockier, but like in terms of my position, I was always a shorter individual. I was pretty quick. But just injury after injury, and I had no confidence at all. And I can remember playing the second tier of regional games at the district level, and I was missing tackles. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. And from then, my confidence was knocked so heavily. Now, sorry, I'm pure waffling here, but I was going to say, but during that period of time, though, I was so heavily invested in the weight room. Like I said, I was never the tallest for my position. I played back row, inside flanker. Those boys are usually 6 foot plus. But I was like, right, what can I do? You know, I've always been a bit stockier, so I was like, right, well, let's just invest more time in the weight room. And granted, that coincided with the me getting knocked back from that initial initial pool of amateur boys. So I really got invested into it. And I remember going back after one summer, and the boys were like, dude, you look massive. What has been going on? I was like, I've just been training. So obviously, I took quite well over the course of a summer. I put on good weight, and I was so frustrated because this is going to sound a bit iffy, right? But where I grew up and where I played, bodybuilding just wasn't a thing. Like I hung about with people that either played rugby or bloody cricket and all that sort of stuff. There was nothing about rugby. Not even mention rugby. You know, I can remember maybe having conversations about bodybuilders, but it was always quite negative. Okay. Oh, that person's on gear, or taking steroids, or oh, you know, he's really strong. I could do that if I was like that. It was always very like, oh, it's the shortcut. Aye. And so I was like, oh, I loved the gym, but I never wanted to label myself as a bodybuilder because I was so heavily, I cared so much about what other people thought of me at that point in time when I'm so young. Like, why? You know, such a waste of time. But then I'm, you know, like I said, after the confidence was knocked, I was in uni now. I'd met my fiancée now, Joanna, and Joanna, I don't know why, but like Joanna wanted to go and get a coach. So Joanna employed her first coach, and then I was like sat there and I was like, a bit jealous here. Wouldn't mind someone to review my pictures in my underwear, tell me what to eat, tell me how to train. Come on. And then I got my first coach, And then, boom, 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 boom. I ended up doing my first competition, I think it was in 2021. Fortunately, I won my class, and then I won the overall. I then took a 2-year break. I entered again, I won my class, and then I won the overall. Tony and I ended up doing one of the same shows together 2 years ago. Newcastle FitX.
Not in the same category.
No, not
I'm
in the
a
same
physique,
category.
I'm a half bodybuilder.
Yeah. Tony's the handsome class. I'm the not so handsome class.
I'm the chippy class, man.
So it was at FitX.
That was FitX. And then I came second in both my classes there, which sucked. But I feel like the losses are just as important as the wins. Like, see if I go back
Not
to
as
back.
bad as the guy that get third.
I know. Yeah, that would hurt. That would hurt. Is that you retiring now, bro?
That's me. Till next year.
But after that, I was like, oh, but part of me felt almost like I needed it.
Yeah.
I think that the loss are just important as the win, as long as you use them constructively. That is, because there's two options. You roll over and you scuff about it and you cry and get frustrated, or you do something about it. And I think that from my actions in the past and having those tangible rewards from knuckling down and getting it done, told me that, okay, well, you just go again. That's all you can do. And you utilise the feedback and you carry it forward. And now my plan is just getting everything teed up for the next time round. But during that period of time, I know I've been speaking about my bodybuilding, but the coaching stuff's always been in the background.
Yes.
The thing for me, see if I speak to you both, you boys, you'll be like, oh, Taylor, what have you been up to? I'm like, I'm just plodding on.
Aye.
Because I don't do anything out with, training and bodybuilding.
Yep.
It is the be all and end all to me. I appreciate that for some people, people want the balance. I don't want that. I don't crave that. I want to do well here, and I'm very aware that you have to make plenty of sacrifices. And it's not even a sacrifice for me because I just enjoy what I'm doing. I'm not that arsed about going on socials and doing this and doing that. It doesn't do it for me. This is what I enjoy, I
kind of said that to you, like, when we were speaking about setting stuff up and we were, like, just arranging to chat and stuff. I was like, and obviously you're extremely busy. And that's what I said to you. I was like, I respect it. Like, you just focus on what it is you've got to do and, like, stay in that zone kind of thing, mate. So I think that's amazing,
That's
mate.
absolutely it, man. And I'm an individual that craves routine. I love just doing the same thing day in, day out. See, as soon as, that begins to kind of get offset a little bit, my whole life just begins to crumble and fall around me. And I can't get a foothold.
Yeah.
So I need to make sure that everything is calculated, which is crazy because I never thought that I would ever be that kind of person that has to be that prepared and organised,
I get that.
What would you, obviously young guys, it's probably took you coming out of routine, having to pull yourself back in, the kind of struggles that come with it. You've probably worked out now that you feel like you're best being in that structure. I'm the same. Tommy's the same as well.
Aye.
There's so much good that comes from just routinely doing the things you love and just stacking those days. If you are a young guy, anyone in fitness who's trying to get results, what would you be telling somebody what stops them from falling out that routine? This is going to sound really, really basic, but like it's as simple as getting a scheduling tool. Genuinely. It's as simple as that. Like the way that I always try and explain how I set up my routine and my days is, look, there's a couple of non-negotiables. Okay, the first non-negotiable is a sleep-wake time. When I go to bed and when do I wake up? The second one is going to be hours of employment. A lot of coaches these days treat coaching, online coaching, like it's just a part-time job.
Yeah.
I can't do that, dude. Yeah. I start at this time and I aim to finish at this time. I then proceed to then train at that time. And then I come home and finish work at this time. And then I have a shut-off time. So that's what I'm saying is, like, Monday through Friday for me is the exact same. Saturday morning, or really Saturday until 2, I've already got that mapped out. Sunday, I give myself a bit of a free day.
Yeah.
As long as I get my key tasks done, like my cardio and my abs and calves, some light client work, setups, consult call maybe, I try and do that before 12 because I think it is important that I get a little bit of downtime. And not every weekend I can get that downtime on a Sunday, but I think it's so important that I try and get the opportunity, man, because if I don't, coming into the Monday, I'm cooked. So I think, in short, sleep-wake timings, work commitments, because those are essential, right? And then just slot your training out with that, and be preemptive. Don't be lazy. Don't just let life get the better of you. plans are arranged in advance.
Yes.
You can use a little bit of foresight and be preemptive and pull things forward and push things back.
Yep.
What I would say though, man, is that scheduling tool is a godsend, an absolute godsend. It's so basic.
Shows you where you need
People
to be.
have done it, and don't get a virtual one. I'm sorry, if you want to get a virtual one, get a virtual one. But like, I'm not a fan. I like the pen and paper. I love the process of just scratching things off.
Yep.
I hate looking at my list at night and I can see little pockets of things that I've missed because I've not had the time. I hate it because I can just wake up and I'm like, great, that's what I need to start with. But
I love that, mate. But you kind of taught me that too. You taught me kind of to start using like Google Calendar and try and put stuff in place to try and like at least have some baseline plan. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I'm not as busy as yourself, or even as busy as you. Like, I probably don't have as much responsibilities either, but I still use it in a sense where it's like, I'm doing this on this day.
I think it's just naturally, I'm like you as well, I have the list that I just tick off because there's something really nice about you've got a vision in your head overall. That day is a step towards that. So if that just ticking those boxes is a good mental clarity of just going, do you know what?
100%.
One step closer. That's how I kind of view it. And I think we spoke about that in our podcast
it's a
before.
win as well.
Yeah.
I think people forget how important it is to celebrate the little wins, day in, day out.
Yep.
You gotta stack them. It feels good, mate. It feels good. And that's the thing as well, is see if you're just getting started out, your wins aren't going to be enormous. In fact, no, that's a lie. They're going to be they're going to be scaled to you. So for example, what is a huge win for me might be totally different to a huge win for you or a huge win for you.
Yes.
For example, someone just getting started that's extremely overweight, the prospect of doing 8,000 steps is really intimidating.
Yep.
For me, dude, that's just like a normal day.
Aye.
Easy. I do that before 12 o'clock some days. That's a massive win for them.
Yes.
Stacking that into 2, 3, 4 days, huge win.
Do you think, obviously, whatever, you have to dilute things down to suit you where you're at?
Mm-hmm.
For somebody like that, I remember when Tommy came on board, the things he's doing now would have terrified the life out of him if I said that. Do you think that's important for anyone at any level to be doing?
110%.
It's like me saying, I'm going to win the British tomorrow and I'm not quite there yet. Or you have to be realistic. And
I think you have to be realistic, but at the same time though, I will have like a realistic goal and then I'll have just like one that's just like a couple of tiers above that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's so important that you set goals that scare you and that are particularly high and ambitious, because those are the goals that's going to force you to learn from your mistakes. Those are the goals that's going to force you to hold yourself to a newfound standard. And I say this all the time to my clients, all the time. I'm not the kind of coach that's complacent. Okay, I treat every week like a fresh week. You could be my best athlete, but if you've had a bad week and you've dropped the ball, unfortunately, you've had a bad week, you dropped the ball, there's going to be, not repercussions to that, but there's going to be talking points to follow, because there's always, you got to keep the juices flowing in that sense.
Yep.
But I certainly think that having ambitious targets, you need to. And then that comes into like breaking up the micro, right? How can you streamline, to get there? And what's the best means of going around it? Yeah.
you want to add to that, Tommy? You?
Just kind of like, well, I guess this is kind of not as much on the subject to this. It's more on the subject of coaching, but like, just for people looking to start coaching or anything like that, what would be your advice? Like, would it be, I've seen you put something on Instagram before and it was like, do it for free.
Yeah. So, like we were speaking about before we clicked the record button, before I was charging people, I was coaching people for free.
Yeah.
I was coaching people for free. Because who's going to want to employ someone that has no experience?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, a couple of dafties. If I'm going to pay someone my hard-earned money, I want to make sure that it's worth it and that they have the experience to back it. And it's kind of like the kind of age-old, not like you're saying, but when people go to want to get a job, like, but I can't get a job because they want experience, but I don't have experience because I can't get a job.
Get you.
Well, just work for free. You can't apply to like every industry, but like for what I do though, because of the enjoyment and the passion that I had, and dude, what harm is it coaching 3, 4, 5 people for free? No. It's nothing. It's no time at all.
I remember speaking to a young boy about that before, and he was like, I'm going to damage my brand, and I'm like,
dude,
mate, you don't have one. And I
Dude.
know that sounds.
I was speaking to, and I never want to put people down, man. That's the hardest thing, mate. Because I see, when I was a kid, when I was coming up, I used to just dream.
Yep.
These big, what felt like fancy at the time. Okay, see what I'm doing just now, mate. That was a fantasy years ago.
That,
I can't believe it, bro. I can't believe it. And the timeline and everything, mate. It's almost like, you know, I'm sat there with like a mystery ball, and I'm like, I'm like, is it hell? But like, you just work and things happen, right?
Yep.
I've totally
Seen about brand.
Oh yeah, the brand, right? So, I was speaking, and these boys are hitting me with like pricing. Oh, I want to have 30 clients pay me 150 quid. I'm like, 150 pounds. I was like, you've not even got your level 2 or 3 qualification yet. You're wanting to charge that much money. I was like, and I just hold my breath because I don't want to put anyone down.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there thinking like, dude, you got to earn that.
Aye.
Like, I know boys that have been coaching half the time as me, that have half the accolades and are charging more than me.
That's crazy,
and I'm
mate.
like, I don't want to seem like this grumpy old guy that's saying, you're good. But it's like, you got to be realistic. You got to understand that there is hierarchy here. You know, it's just like any other area of expertise. You know, if you go to a consult, you employ someone to do some consultancy work with you. You know, there's tiers.
Yep.
You know, if you get some random Tom, Dick, and Harry off the street, they're gonna lowball you.
Yes.
Whereas if you get someone that's very, very good, you know, the value is merited. You know, there's logic behind that. You know, so you gotta learn, and you have to be realistic, man. See the people that you're bringing on board initially. I can remember some of the people that I was coaching initially, man, and it's far from who I coach now.
Yeah.
But you got to go through that, and I do think there's value to that as well. I think there's a lot of value to working with people that are maybe not aligned with where you're at, or where you see your values and what you expect people to be. You know, because then that is actually coaching. That is actually how do you learn to manage someone's behaviors and attitude towards the process that is not all in. You know, because my job is to try and break them down and get them through things properly. You know, something I will always speak, and you guys might have heard, is there's always 2 ways of doing things. The right way, you know, or the wrong way. The proper way or not the proper way.
Yeah.
You know, and you always want to do it the proper way. You know, that's the problem that I have, is that there seems to be such a discrepancy in standards. You know, people want thanks for doing what's expected.
Nice. Bare minimums.
You know, and even in coaching as well, man. Like, you know, like I was saying, I treat it like a job, and there's some people that, you know, don't, and they're wondering why their retention's so poor. They wonder why they're not getting the results that they want. They don't have the relationships with their clients. It's just standards on both ends.
Yep.
Do you think, obviously, you're somebody that has upwards of 80 to 100 clients, so incredible amount of people to be juggling. Your guys aren't. Simply, it's in-depth coaching you're giving. If you are a kind of young guy, you're just starting coaching, of course, you think it is important to just ignore all that just now. Don't shout, of course, that big dream of maybe being somebody like yourself or getting to that point, but I think it's important just to actually say, right, I'm at this point just now, I'm going to enjoy it. Because at that, back when, even when you played rugby, you done all these things, probably the skill set you built back then, that perseverance has now allowed you to have that standard of dealing with that amount of clients.
Absolutely. I always say in anything that we do in bodybuilding, it's a case of like graded exposure. Like how much can you tolerate before you're tapping out? And that's so varied. You know, it covers training, it covers nutrition, it covers PEDs, it covers, you know, our behaviors, our overall like your tolerance of stress. And after a certain point, though, you know, I used to always think that when I'm up at this number, I'm going to have everything on lock, and my life is good. All the answers all the questions, my problems are going to be answered. If anything, I've got more problems and more questions because I'm, you know, what do they say? Don't wish for what you want because you just might get it. Is that a song?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a song. Is that like Kylie Minogue or like, I don't know who says it, but like, yeah, nothing can prepare you for how it feels to be actually.
That's right.
Is it?
There you go.
I can't believe that. Amazing.
I'm going to put action over that.
Amazing. God.
Try to do some bodybuilding and end up talking about Nicole Scherzinger.
I know. Can you blame me? Come on. You blame me. But yeah, I used to like have this dream of being where I'm at, and I love it, and I want to keep on going because I know where I'm at just now.
Yep.
You know, I know where I'm at just now. I know that I can manage more, and that is my ambition to get there. But I need to preserve the service always. I've never been a numbers man. I've got to where I'm at organically, and not through I'm not like the guy that's invested £5,000 a month in a business mentor.
See, I want to obviously talk about that point with you, Taylor. I'm a big believer in the slow way is the only way. I just believe that the process, even when you're talking about rugby, I'm sitting in my head going like that. All these struggles he went through in rugby have led him to who he is now. Like, I'm big in all that. I see it all the time. You're actually seeing it more now, which is probably something to talk about. All the gurus now saying, this is not what you do to get 10... 6 months ago, it was, this gets you £10,000 a month and they'll invest in it. Now they're backtracking that and saying, oh no, this doesn't. You have to do it this way and that way. How much is important just to be like, I'm at this stage, £10,000 a month shout, oh, I'm in this job now, and you probably get, I think it is the most coaching, certainly PT, and it's the shortest lived career, if not Europe, Britain.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we seeing this big drop off?
I think it comes down to industry standards. I think that from the outside looking in, it's easy to see how saturated it is, but I don't think it's saturated at all. I think that it's saturated with poor coaches that don't have the patience.
Yep.
You know, like you said, is that an actual fact?
I think it's the shortest lived career in Britain.
Right, okay.
I seen a statistic and it was something like...
Dude, do you not think that blows your mind? Because you can be so good at anything if you give it the time.
I know.
Yeah.
There's also, I think I seen one, it was at Lift the Barber saying about it, and if every PT had 35 or 30 clients in Scotland, there would still be 4.5 million people without a PT.
Wow, man, that's
So what does that tell you? It's not to do with, there's not enough clients to do with the standard of what you're doing things.
Yeah.
Exact same maybe coaching, where I would argue it's actually harder to build relationships because you aren't getting that one-to-one
time.
A wee bit more intimate. It's developing friendship a wee bit better.
Yep.
So is it the systems are in place, or you're not willing to see it?
I think that from my recollection, I don't know if you're the same, but the quality of the course to begin with is outdated as anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Incredibly outdated. I can't believe it. And everything else seems to be excelling, and every day I pull up Instagram, there's some meta-analysis on the importance of this and this and this. It's such a fast industry, but for some reason there's not as much backing as what there needs to be. It's something like 40% of the UK is obese. Something such as that, right?
That's crazy.
Okay. And then what you're saying, that there's estimate of people without a PT, right? So what I don't understand is why there's little investment in that region. There's little backing in that region, when if we were to take a step back, if we were to look at the amount of strain on the NHS with regards to cardiac issues, diabetic issues, I'd like to think that if there was more awareness from a young age, then these situations might not be quite as prevalent, and in turn, that statistic might not be quite the same. I don't understand why that's such a shame, man, because everyone needs to be doing this. I don't think everyone needs to be doing what we do, but some form of exercise is good.
You're obviously dealing with elite athletes now, which when they come on board, they've got probably a level of education that's far above general pop. But it also tells you then there's a lot of general pop that aren't getting any form of education. And that's the biggest thing that I feel people let themselves down with results as a coach. Yeah. The ability to make somebody believe and education. See if you can do that, then you change somebody's life.
And
I think
I'd say they're codependent as well. It's about generating buy-in, I think.
Yep.
You'll hear me say like same buzzwords over and over again. I say them all the time, man.
He's a guru. He's going to be a guru this time next year.
I know. DM me buy-in. But that's what I'm saying, though. It's about the conversations. And I do think that you can build good relationships through online coaching, but it's different.
Yep.
It's hard. It's not quite as organic in that sense. It's a bit of a slow burner.
They've probably got to get to a certain level before.
Yeah. And that's something that I'll always tell people, is that, see, when they come on board with me, I will always say, look, I have so much time for you guys, but you need to ask the questions. You keep the door open.
Yep.
Because you can get the most out of me here, or you can get very, very little. And that applies to anyone that's looking to get into this. Even if you're just a random punter going to the gym, speak to someone. Just say, hey, bro, I'm just new here, man. I'm seeing you doing this. Can you just explain that? And it's just like knowledge, just stack it and stack it and stack it. And again, if you have that knowledge there, you understand the rationale behind X, Y, and Z, you're buying for that is going to be greater.
I said that, like, I put up a reel through the week, and that's what it was covering, like, asking for help. Like, don't be afraid to ask people for help.
Even I,
It's
I mean, I'll still ask for help.
Aye, do you know what I mean? That's a prime example of that. Like, people would probably look at you and just think he's got it all figured out. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, in that sense, where I don't think anybody has it all figured out.
I feel like as soon as you believe that you've got it figured out, that's when problems will creep up. That's when you won't progress.
So the tailor with 50 clients didn't know how to manage 100.
No. You know, ask the questions. There's always someone that knows a little bit more, and there's always value to asking as well. Always.
And that probably relates back to you need to build a brand, you need to build a reputation. Like when we think of you, high standards, everything that comes with that. People need to learn that that's you, and that might come for you. Just might need to coach people for free. You might not need to put a thing in your pocket.
And I think there's something. There's this like layer that you can't describe, right? It's like the emotion when you're speaking. It's like there's a certain something that, see, when you've got someone in front of you that lives and breathes it, that is so passionate about it. Oh man,
in any field, I think that, whether it's selling houses, bodybuilding, football,
and you can't fake that.
No.
You know, I went to a seminar a few months back, and it was good. I enjoyed seeing a lot of people that were like willing to, you know, progress and learn more and give back to themselves. But what I didn't like is it was very business orientated, man.
Yeah. You
know, like, not once have I ever listened to like a mentor or went down the cold, you know, DMing route and all. Yeah. I don't do it at all, man. I've never really thought about building a brand. That's just been quite organic, and we are like sensory beings, bro. We absorb everything that's around us.
Yes.
Okay, and see, if you see someone's killing it in their region, why don't just try and lean into what they're doing, emulate it. You don't need to don't copy it word for word.
Yep.
You understand what they're doing, understand what they're trying to do, and just take a little bit from it, man. Because it's what everyone does.
And that's it, mate. You're right. 100%.
And we spoke about that in the podcast before, like morals, being in that kind of. You probably didn't feel that the the business guru, everything else that's important for you. Is that just morally you just felt, I'm just going to just work here, like this is my way, rather than deviating and going off plan?
I think that, I don't mean to sound like arrogant here, but what I've done has been working.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't, I would maybe have to, you know, take a step back and like, right, what am I doing wrong here? But like everything, I've always taught that service is everything, man. You know, I've been really lucky that I've been around the block, and I've worked with some amazing coaches.
Yeah.
I work with some coaches you think are amazing, but are actually incredibly poor. You know, and see, when you work with someone and you've put them on a pedestal and their service is god awful, man, that hurts.
Yeah,
that hurt, because I was looking up to these people, man. These people that I aspire to be, and when I realized like how it's a bit fake, dude, that sucks.
Aye,
it sucks. You know, but also see how I feel. I don't want anyone to feel like that.
Yep.
You know, I don't want people to feel frustrated. I want people to feel like they're not getting their money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like they're being dismissed. Mm-hmm. It sucks. Morally, it's not very nice either.
I spoke about that, like, as a client or just somebody wanting to get coached, like, you've kind of got a duty of care to yourself to make sure you don't just chase maybe a mistake you've made, or maybe you thought it was the right move at the time. Don't chase the big name, or don't chase the person so do your homework. Go and ask people what's your experience with Taylor, what's your experience with Tone, anybody.
I went in a consult call, and I've never ever done this before, and it was never my intention to come across as rude or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But I had a message a couple of weeks back, and I wanted to action the call straight away, just because the client was time sensitive. There was things that had to move quick. But like, this individual had a few recommendations from it, but she hadn't like done any research into me. And again, I don't mean to sound like fruity or anything here, but like, see if someone's coming to you, do your research, man. Know what you're getting yourself into.
100%, mate.
You know, like, I won't say my time has been wasted or anything such as that, but like, I want to make sure that the person coming on board is an appropriate fit for me, because I don't take on everyone and anyone. I don't. I need to make sure that they fit a certain standard, but I would also expect them to have done a little bit of ground research into what I do, because what if my model totally disaligns with what they want to do? They're already setting themselves up to not enjoy the process, you know? And there's definitely a coach There's definitely a right coach for the right person.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it is important that if people want to go and try a new coach, go and do it, man. You know, like there's so many opportunities out there for us coaches to pick up clients.
Yep.
And I always find as well that how you manage a client leaving sets the tone really well. See, if you're like a bit of an asshole about it, I think that says more about the coach than the individual.
Aye.
Yeah.
You know, like I always want to see people do well. You know, I had a client leave me like a couple of weeks ago, and the voice note he sent was beautiful, man. You know, he was saying, "Taylor, you've taken very good care of me. You know, I'm done forcing the process at this point. I came to you because I thought it would like spark it, and I've done my mental arithmetic, and I just feel like I'm out of love with it now. But and this guy was a coach, but he's like, but you have shown me the difference in standards." And you've kind of scared me a little bit because I realised how far back I was and what I was missing and what I could have done, you know. And I'm just sat there thinking, look, man, the sincerity that he's speaking with, I was like, man, you know what? I'm happy for you.
Yep.
Because
I must feel good, mate.
Dude, no one should drag themselves through the process.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think coaching should be? I'm quite big on like, I don't really want to be coaching somebody forever. Unless they're going down maybe the coach, but it's nice to know that you've took them to a place where they're very capable of either going and trying something different, or maybe just saying, everything you've taught me, I can stay at this position for a period in my life and be happy. I mean,
yeah, I could. It's going to be. It just depends on the client, I think, and depends what their overarching goals are. If I've got someone that wants to be a world-class competitor, then I'm like, look, you're going to be doing this for the next 10 years at least.
Yes.
But I get that people are going to go try different coaches. From my experience, because I have been with a fair few coaches, man, it's mostly the relationship. I know. But it's mostly the relationship that counts, man. It genuinely is, dude, because the thing is like there's only so many ways that someone wants and can enjoy training. Yeah. There's only so many ways you can design someone's meal plan. All coaches do the comparable things. It's really just the eye that slightly shifts and changes, but it's the relationship that you have. It's having that buy-in. I guarantee that you would not be in the position that you're in, Tommy, if it wasn't for meeting Tony and having the relationship that you guys have.
Definitely. Yeah. Like I went for one session, mate, and I said this earlier, like in one of the earlier episodes, there was a cake shop across for the gym, mate, and I swear to God, mate, I literally left and went straight in for a cake, mate, like, and then never went back,
quite
mate.
poetic.
I was just like, I was like, that's it done.
like, but like, that's what I'm saying though, man, is it, you know,
as soon as I said that, like, as soon as I trained with you, I knew where I was, kind of who I was.
In that
meant
same
to be
breath, there might be a boy that goes and trains with the other boy you with me, and it just clicks well, and
oh,
it might
mate,
not
he's
work
a
with me or
fantastic
with Taylor.
PT, definitely, mate. I think it's just who. Exactly what you're saying, mate. If the morals align, and like we've spoke about this again before, like so many coaches kind of play the part of, no, that's fine, I'll take you in, and blah, 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 but it doesn't work for them if the client doesn't suit, so it ends up affecting their business, or do you know what I mean?
That's the thing, is like I'm very black and white when people come on board.
Yeah.
I think that people like see me on social media, and I try and be different. I just try and be myself. I'm not trying to be different. I'm just myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, I'm a little bit extroverted, but at the same time, I find like social things like this are a little bit like, you know, nerve wracking.
Yep.
But like I always make sure and let them know that despite, you know, how flamboyant I can sometimes come across, if that's even the right word, enthusiastic is probably the right word, I still expect you to get your shit done.
Yep.
And if you step out of line when you're telling me that you have these massive competitive aspirations, I will question, I will challenge you, you know, because realistically, if you value this as much as what you say, you know, regardless of what's happened, you will be organised, you will be prepped, and you will make it work.
Yes.
I think we, again, just pressing on, we want to talk about your training rationale, your thought process behind it. We'll kind of cover trends and everything else, but how does your training work? What is
so personally speaking, in fact, just across the board, so people can take value from it, I think that the first thing that anyone should do, coach, or just like if you're watching this and you want to, you know, take control and design a training program, you need to do a needs analysis. You need to have a hierarchy of development, because you can't prioritize everything at once. People will tell you that, well, but the thing is that your body will have naturally, your body will have certain body parts that are genetically going to advance quicker than others. Okay. But you got to go through a year to 2 years worth of training to actually find out what. So, you know, again, start off with where you want to grow. Okay, and then let's do a body, a list of muscle groups 1 through, let's say 5. Okay, and then just a list of the hierarchy of how it comes. Now, once you've got that sorted, then it's a case of trying to determine what's going to be the minimum effective volume that you need. Now, it seems like minimum effective volume, per working set, it needs to be a working set, and this is when things get a little bit ambiguous because people can't really train very well, and people don't like it, that they don't think they can train well, but we've seen what hard training is, and we've seen what going through the motions is, and the impact physiologically is night and day. So I always think it's important to, like I said, have a clear cut of what you want to progress. Have your limitations, and then when you're aware of what the minimum effective volume is in terms of collective sets that's required, you can then start to piece everything together across the week. So I know that I need 7 sets of chest, 7 sets of back, 7 sets of delts, 7 sets of legs, well, whatever, and then from that point you can start to piece it together, or just get a coach and they can do all that for you. It's hard to explain, and you'd almost need to have like bits and bobs in front of you. But in terms of where I'm at, though, for me right now, my biggest opportunity is my top line. So like the upper component of my body, and the biggest way that I'm going about is just escalated frequency. That's it. And I've pushed the volume a little bit more than what I usually had done. So, like we're talking about coaches having the preferred means of their preferred methodologies, and it might not match with the client that's coming on board. I'm an advocate of like low volume training, and I remember I started doing it. So this is my first coach, a guy called Andy Scott. Everyone will probably know Big Andy. Yeah. So Andy's my first coach, and he introduced me to like low volume training, and I was looked at the plan, and I was like kind of disappointed. I was like, dude, this guy must have taken like 5 minutes to whip this up. So it was like 2 working sets of everything. Yeah. And I was of the idea that he did 3 sets of like 8 to 10, 8 to 12. Not really realizing that when you're doing the 3 sets of 8 to 12, most people usually only really hit mechanical failure on that final set, right? It's an accumulation. So the ideology is that you piggyback all the junk volume and get straight into the working sets, the tangible sets that are is what you're looking to progress and is actually going to cause that damage that's required. And I remember still not getting a hang of it, man. Andy was like, right, just come and train with me. I was like, sound, I'll come and train, but light work. And that session opened my eyes. I was crippled, dude. I was crippled. So in that time, I was studying through in Edinburgh. I totally missed out the fact that my background is economics and finance, so I studied that at uni. Served me incredibly well now. But I remember coming through from Leith, which is where I was staying with Joanna, through to Edinburgh, and I remember the bus stopped at the top of Leith Walk, and it must take me about an hour and 15 to walk down because my lower back and my legs were. I was sitting in the bus. I wasn't driving at that time from Glasgow through to Edinburgh, and I was feeling so lethargic. I remember getting out and looking at the bottom of the hill and just had no idea how the hell I was going to get home. It was horrible because my lower back was frazzled, mate. Was it? Melted. Yeah, so following that session with Andy, it opened my eyes to actually how to train. And I fully encourage anyone who has a coach to train with them. But some coaches themselves, sorry to say this, but y'all don't really set the best example of how to train. Yeah. And I think that probably comes back to standards. Yeah. The standard in the coaching industry is so varied. How, not even just of how they provide a service, but even the standard they hold themselves to. I feel an unwavering demand and pressure to walk the walk so heavily, more than what my athletes do. Because if I'm not able to set the standard and be the figurehead, I can't expect them to, man. Yeah. And the thing is that I get a bit of a kick out of being as busy as what I am and getting shit done. Yeah. I know that sounds not to be arrogant or anything, not to say I'm better than you, but to a point you can get it done. If you're organised and if you have that willingness to do so.
I think we feel more alive and in a job that we actually feel we're getting somewhere.
It's so fulfilling, mate.
Of course it is.
It's so fulfilling. And I know that it's probably because of how invested we are. I know that not everyone would feel that way. But like we found our thing. Yeah. And I think that's quite a nice caveat. And I think everyone needs to find what they want. I believe that everyone's meant to be doing something in life. Yeah. You just have to look for subtle cues and signs because the world will take care of you, man. Mm-hmm. I'm not spiritual in that sense, maybe a little bit, but I feel like there's a lock and key for everyone. Yeah, you just got to sift through it.
With obviously the training hard, which we're big on. Like, you can nail that, you can fix all the other wee things along the way. Right now, I feel there's sometimes an overload of information. The way you might coach might be different to somebody else, but you can still get equally good results for your clients. You might see stuff like, I don't know if the guy Paul Carter, stuff around, he speaks about 1 to 5 reps and how much you can back it up with studies. And I'm not diminishing what he's saying. He's further ahead than all of us.
I agree.
But can you get too much in the weeds with studies, with methodology with training?
Again, I feel like we could go back to the whole coaches, like people just getting started out expecting too much out of the gate.
Yeah.
Like there's the literature, and then there's the tried and tested theories, and I certainly feel like there's lines that are heavily blurred between them. And I do think that if you lean too heavily into one or the other, you can, be quite overwhelmed, and it leaves you not having a Scooby of where to even start in the first place. And it also makes you question things that you have no idea about in the first place anyway. Taylor, why is a 12 reps? Why am I doing 12 reps and not everything is 5 to 6?
Yeah.
Because, this and this.
I think that's an education thing as well, because I seen it the other day where it was Joe Bennett who CBum openly asked to train with 4 or 5 times, and he gave a couple of teaching points how he can do better with his chest press, blah, blah, blah. CBum asked for the info back, and he applied it, blah, 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 and he put one on Instagram. You get all these guys slaughtering him, saying, how dare you tell CBum how to press? And I'm like, do you think we all can agree that there's all different ways around this. Yeah. There's different ways to do it. But the holy grail is you need to learn to train hard, not just for a couple of weeks, not just a couple of months. You need to train hard for decades. So all these guys that maybe do have different styles that are top of the game, there's a mutual respect along there to go, do you know what? We are in agreement that your way can suit you, but it might be different for me.
Yep, that's such a really good point. The commonality amongst everything, I think, is hard training and execution.
Yep.
If you can nail those two, I think that you'll get good.
Your body will adapt.
You'll get good. You'll get good at it. But I think the issue lies in the ego with a lot of people. They don't want to go in. They don't want to put on like one plate at a machine. They want to go and put 2, 3, 4 plates.
Mate, that's huge. Especially in beginners, I feel like that's massive, mate.
Yeah, man. Like I've got a couple of clients that are they're young. They've got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
And like some of the weight that they're moving is absurd. And I will always, not to be like rude or anything such as that, but I'll always say, look, do you think your level of muscle, matches the output that you're, matches that level of output? And this is when the lines get even more blurred, because I'm an advocate on going to a full range of motion, training hard and feeling the muscle. Yeah. I'm not doing like 5-second eccentrics into this, beautiful isometric contraction into this, lengthened partial banana set. Like I'm not doing that, I'm going to full range. I'm training hard. I'm using as much weight as what I can.
Yes.
But I'm feeling it. But I think a lot of people, like I said, get so caught up in the Chris. Is it Chris Carter? You said
Paul Carter.
Paul Carter. Sorry, not Chris Carter. Paul Carter. Left wrong bang.
Yeah.
Yeah. That they think that they just need to move the weight and that's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I wholeheartedly believe that there's some subtle neurological link between everything that piece it together, because, and I think the harsh reality is that the biggest overarching factor is going to be genetics in this game. It sucks because everyone is always taught that, no matter, where you come from, if you work hard, you can get this. And I think it's also about, like we're speaking about earlier on, about being a little bit more aware of your limitations, or at least being a bit more real with your goals.
Mm-hmm.
Like as much as I love bodybuilding, it is everything to me. And I know that compared to most, I'm a big guy. Bro, in terms of the pecking order here, there's people miles ahead of me that have got better genetics than me, that look at a weight, don't even put as much work in, and just grow better and better. And that's a hard pill to swallow. But it comes out to standards at the end of the day.
Do you think, means me on something that I want to talk about, is obviously you're an exceptional coach, exceptional physique as well. Do you think there will become a time where you have to go?
Well, that's the issue that I'm kind of having just now. And I don't want to admit it. I don't want to like admit, I don't want to admit it because
Why?
as soon as because it's defeat, mate.
Yeah,
it's defeat.
You
know?
don't want it to be true, kind of thing.
Nah,
but
mate, I'm not.
Is it defeat Taylor if it's now gave you the ability, the work and the thing, mate, to now be sat here known as a guy who's got exceptional standards? Those wouldn't have came if you didn't have that.
Yeah, the thing is like I have never been in this for the money,
Yep.
or the client load.
I think that's clear to see too, mate.
I've never been in it for like the recognition either. I don't. What you think of me sound? What counts is like, you know, the homies. What do they think of me? You know, am I being good to them? Because I'm always like a very kind and open person, but like I'm very aware that I can't give my time to absolutely everything. But like I never wanted to be known or to do this and do that. I just wanted to be good at something, and as soon as I've had that opportunity, I've went all in. And I don't want to. I think because I've never been that amazing at sport as well, I want to have something that I can still cling to and say, I've put my flag here. This is where I'm at. You know, like I've got some goals that I want to tick off, and once they're done, then I do need to shift my focus. You know, I want to take bodybuilding all the way that I possibly can. I want to take coaching all the way that I possibly can. But and this comes down to making sure that I'm bringing the right people on. I'm being just as efficient as what I can, and just try to juggle my best ability, because I do know I can do it. But the issue that I have is stress management. You know, that's it. And like we were saying earlier, referencing the bloody Pussycat Dolls. Was it the Pussycat Dolls that we said? Yeah. Think of what you wish for, because you just might get it. I used to want to have all this client load, right?
Yeah.
But I thought, because I've seen people do it on social media and they make it look so easy. It's far from it, boy. Oh. It's far from it. You know, like as soon as I'm up and as soon as I go to bed, I'm working. And like we're speaking about the routine, and this is, I meant to actually sit and mention this. Where we're speaking about the scheduling. I get incredibly anxious if my schedule is off. It stresses me out a lot, because I know the repercussions of it. Everything gets pushed back, and that comes at my detriment. You know, and that's the thing about having a structure in place, is that you need to be relatively malleable with it, and that's something that I'm really trying to learn and implement, is to stop putting so much pressure on myself to, nail the hour to the minute. You know, like having a little bit of flexibility. You know, if life takes over, life takes over. You know, Jesus take the wheel. You got to roll with the punches, because if you do get yourself into more of a tizzy, that goalpost just gets further away.
Yeah,
gets further away. You know, it's like when people get unwell. You know, think about clients you've had that have messed with and are unwell, saying, Tony, my life's done, bro. I'm unwell. I've not trained in 3 days, bro. I'm atrophying like hell. You know, they every morning they wake up saying, oh, bro, I'm good. But then they're like, all right, Tony, how are you, man? Yeah, I feel fine.
I'm going to train.
Yeah, no, you're not, mate. Don't be a silly cookie and rest up. You know, take that time. Don't get in your head quite as much. The thing is see, because we're so emotionally invested, sometimes that can push us further away.
100%.
And that's something that I'm trying my best to try and manage and stuff. But what I don't like, though, is I love the pressure, mate. I love the little bit of anxiety that I feel. Oh, Taylor, you know, look at this, it's that. And I like the urgency of it. You know, I like the thrill of it. It's kind of self-destructive, right? But it keeps me.
As a driving force, definitely. Mate.
Yeah, it keeps me. But it's just not allowing that to take over, because I can think back to, God, a few weeks back, there was some family stuff popping off, and I wasn't the best headspace, man. I was very frantic. I've never been like that in my life. I remember having about one of these like frantic episodes, just not know my bloody arse in my head, and I came out of it, and I was like, dude, what was going on with me? You know, I need to just take a minute to take a step back, because it does affect everything, man. You know, it affects your relationships, affects your health, and like I'm saying, man, you have to be prepared for what comes when you get to the bigger leagues.
You're somebody we obviously know on a personal level. You're getting married this year.
I am that.
Lovely.
Joey and I have been together for 8 years.
And is that, obviously bodybuilding can be quite a stubborn sport, selfish. You're where you are just now with that amount of clients, business where it is. Has she been a big influence on that? I would hope so. You're going to marry her.
Joanna's she's incredible, mate. I'm very lucky to have her. I'm very lucky to have her. If I get a bit emotional, I'm sorry, but I am. I'm very, very lucky to have her. She's been through like everything with me, mate.
Aye.
like 8 years is a long time. And when I think back to what's happened, it's a lot, you know, and sometimes, I don't know if you guys are like this with your partner or not, but like I always want to feel like I've got everything in control.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get feedback from Joe, I'll be polite and I'll take it on chin, but like I don't always, but even just having her to say, look, Taylor, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, it puts me at ease. And she is incredibly supportive. I don't know anyone that could tolerate the you know, being, I mean, Molly's really, really good, eh?
She's great.
You know, like she's very understanding of the bodybuilding lives, how restricted it can be. It's the same with
I think
Joanna.
it's more business point of view. We've got our passion, but we've also got like somewhere we want to take our lives. Your partner's going to come along with that. She
Dude, I
keeps
want
me grounded.
to like take care of her, man. Like I do. Like I think that I don't want to say anything that causes any offense, because we're in this era where, you know, of like equality and, you know, women are powerful, and women are bloody powerful, man. You're the best. You're awesome. I love you all. But I just want to take care of her. I want to feel like I'm doing something right, you know, because she's given me like so much, and the support though, man, like goodness, you know, like I would definitely be where I am without her, you know, because she's honest.
Yep.
She doesn't tell what I want to hear. I mean, if you see Joanna, she's this 5 foot munchkin, and then there's me weighing double her weight, and she still puts me in my place, and I love it. I love it. I love it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's times where, you know, it's hard, and we're like ships passing. What she said to me the other night, I was finishing work. It was like 9 o'clock, and she was going to bed, and she's like, "Oh, we're like ships passing in the night." You know, I don't even see her in the mornings, man. Like Joanna's up at like 4 a.m. Goes to the gym. You know, she's up before me.
Yep.
And then by the time she comes home, I'm still working. She has to get her meals in. She has to get her meals prepped, because she's into bodybuilding as well.
Yes.
You know, she competes. So that helps a lot.
Yep.
That helps so much.
Is that right now, that trade-off you are having just now, where you might be passing, are you both aware of that and knowing that?
It's been like that for the past year, to be honest with you, man. Like I need to get better at making time.
Yeah.
I need to get better at making time. It's hard. I feel like I'm addicted to work, man. Genuinely, dude. Like,
There's worse things to be addicted to.
genuinely,
mate.
man. Like I
Like green.
I know.
That's a magic
Come on.
idea.
I know.
No, you're right, though, mate. You're right. Definitely.
But yeah, I she's incredibly understanding, but she understands why I'm doing it. And I wasn't really planning on getting into this, but I think it's important that I'm going to be honest with you guys, so I don't speak about this publicly. But like, my upbringing was pretty. I think in the start, I think everyone would think that I've been pretty lucky, but like my childhood has been all over the place, man. Like families had money, families had no money. Being homeless, it's like I've never said anything, told anyone about this before. I haven't. Been quite vulnerable here, boys, but I have the fear of being in that position.
Yeah.
You know, I no child should have to go through that. No child should have to go through that. It should be taken care of, and I want to make sure that when I'm in that position, that everything's all taken care of. There's no worries at all, and if I need to put myself in the floor to make sure that everyone's taken care of when I'm older, I'll do it, mate.
I think that's
I will do it.
I think that's our duty. And I can resonate with, we'll talk about this later on. Like, I'm similar in some degrees, and I feel, for a personal level, I respect men a lot more when they're out there fighting at their best, and exactly what you're doing, because there's this underlying.
I mean, that's where it all stems from.
You don't want somebody to feel the way you felt.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful, because that can also go the other way of you saying, fuck the world, I don't want to. That's just the way things goes. And if I end up in the same position, then, well, what more do I know? So it took a huge jump for you to go, do you know what? I'm taking another route. I'm going to be the guy that...
Mate, there's no plan B ever, man. You can't... there's no plan B in anything you do. You have, you know, if I think that there's two ways of looking at it when you're growing up, man. You can either you know, look back to the troubles and feel hard done by, or you utilize it as an anchor and utilize it to propel you forward, because life is for living, man. You know, and everyone has opportunity. Everyone does, man. Like, a lot of people feel like betrayed by life. They've been given a shit end of the stick. But like I said to you boys earlier, life is a way of just sending you these little subtle cues.
Yes.
You know, if you're coming down, mate, I promise you, if you look for you know, some opportunity, it's going to be there. It's going to be there. It doesn't matter if you've been overweight all your life. It doesn't matter if you've been taking drugs for this long. It doesn't matter if you've had this amazing career and you've just been made redundant and you feel like your life's falling apart. If you've been cheated on, like, you have a chance to make something of yourself. And this is why I love the premise of turn of the year.
Yeah.
It's just another day, but like the connotations of a new year, a fresh opportunity.
Yep.
You know, even coming into Sunday into Monday, it's a fresh week.
Aye.
Oh, I've had a bad day. No, you've had a bad moment.
Yep.
You've had a bad moment.
I was actually speaking to my girlfriend about this morning before I came here, mate. Like, I don't know why, but maybe it's like, because my family's quite religious. And this morning I went out a walk with a dog and I walked past one of my aunties and she was like, oh, I'm going to mass and whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I should really adhere to that. I should probably be like gone back kind of thing, blah, 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 and whatever else. And Rachel came home from work and I was just saying, you know, I fucking love Sunday. Like, I really like Sunday. And she's like, why? And I was like, I don't know. I feel like...
Because Jesus.
I just feel like it's like, I don't know, I can reflect. Like, everything feels so much easier. Like, I know I've got the week coming ahead and I'm kind of excited for it. Like, and nothing's obviously overly changed. It's not like it's got to Sunday and it's like, oh, everything you've done last week, like, oh, that's it now, it's disappeared. Like, all your worries are away or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it just feels refreshing knowing that I'm getting into the start of a new week. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Knowing that I've got kind of another opportunity. If things were a bit fucked up, if I maybe missed a task or whatever, try get it this week.
Yeah.
And do you feel something that could obviously maybe follow on that is, I was thinking about this the other day, like, maybe see it a lot in bodybuilding, body dysmorphia, these all things happening. I think they said something like, going by the statistics, male body dysmorphia is meant to take over female body dysmorphia in the next 2 decades.
Wow.
So that it kind of got me thinking and going, you can take your supplements, you can do your steps, you can train as hard as you want. If you don't figure out what's going on up there,
100%.
How much will that influence you going forward as a guy or even in your industry?
Influences everything, mate. Everything. You know, like, I am a huge advocate of the premise, like the butterfly effect.
Yep.
Just like one action has consequences that will show in weeks and months to come. Everything that we do has a consequence, right? It can be so subtle, but I do believe it influences the trajectory of where you're going. I can see that being the case. It doesn't surprise me. It's hard for me to relate because I never got into bodybuilding for wanting to be big. I don't know, man. This is the thing. So
it's an
we
individual
were talking about the mindset side of stuff and the kind of like how we interpret things. Now,
how do you see yourself?
Through the course of bodybuilding, I've spoken to counsellors. I've done bouts with sports psychologists. Because for me, it's always been about the performance instead of the visual. You know, like, I think that a lot of people are going to be sat here saying, oh, but you're a bodybuilder, you build your body to look a certain way. But like, I don't really look at myself. I don't really look at the physique. I just enjoy the training aspect of it.
Yes.
But the reason why I've been able to get here, I believe, and manage to the extent of what I have is because of this. Because this is like your greatest tool. Always. And there's nothing more refreshing than starting to sit and stare at yourself in the mirror and just peel away these layers. You know, like who actually are you? You know, because we've all got problems. We all have opportunities that we can improve on, but you have to do the soul searching to sieve them out.
Absolutely.
Because I like to think of like mental health as almost like cracks will form over time if you don't take care of it. You might be fine just now, but like if you're pushed to a certain point, it's going to show. So for example, a few weeks back, like I was saying, I was frantic, bro. I was frantic, mate. I felt like I was having like a tantrum.
Yep.
I've never felt that before, man. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I knew why I was acting like that.
Yeah.
I knew it was my ability to not manage the stress correctly. And that could have been avoided if I'd taken the time to sit down and do that, you know, journaling and meditation. I'm a fan of journaling. I like journaling. I can't quite, I've tried to get into meditation. I can't. Training for me is meditation.
Aye, of course,
Like,
mate. That's definitely a form of
when
it.
you're a set, I know you can think about is the set.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that, man.
Aye.
Because, dude, my brain, I don't know if you boys are the same.
100 mile an hour.
Dude, I don't know if I said this to you or not, but like, think back to when we were younger Okay, you'd be coming home from school, you'd get, you know, whatever you do, you'd go upstairs, you'd turn on the PlayStation, you'd sit with the boys, you'd jump on and play some Dust or something, some COD, right? You know, 1v1 in the homies.
Another
Dude,
PlayStation player.
Dude, what was in your mind? Nothing, mate.
You're right.
Nothing.
You're right.
And what happens now? Constant.
Aye.
It's polluted.
Yeah.
And that is like, that's my time in the gym. I love, that's like my...
We spoke about this a couple of podcasts before, like, especially British people, American, this kind of Western society of wanting to quantify everything. How important do you feel it's to sometimes just go in there and be the 16, 17-year-old guy that just fell in love with bodybuilding?
I still do that. I still do that, man. I still do that.
I love that, mate.
Yeah.
I feel that's a skill people won't ever be able to kind of...
I spoke to a guy the other day and he was just so annoyed that he didn't hit his numbers on his logbook, and I'm like,
Look, see, the thing with logbooking, man, is it can be a great tool, but it can also be a fantastic hindrance. You know, like I can remember using it on prep and just sacking off because I would hate myself, dude. I'd go home and I'd be off with Joe. I wouldn't talk to Joe. What? It's so silly,
all
man.
because you couldn't write a number down.
All because I missed one rep in the leg press. You know, I talk to myself like I'd stood on the world's biggest shite. Do you know what I mean? Like, what have I done? How have I done this? You are worthless. You're like,
do you feel like as I said, it's just sometimes go in there and be that kid.
Yeah.
I mean, it just went to the gym, started, and I feel personally it
what
makes training better.
what is a little bit not concerning, but like I feel like there's this resurgence of bodybuilding right now, and yeah, that is concerning because I feel like there's really people that are dragging themselves through it, and bodybuilding unfortunately can leave some pretty putrid issues long term, issues with food, issues with health. I mean, it can destroy relationships, man. You know, if you're not there with the right person. And that's my concern, is that over the next 5, 10, 15 years, we're seeing this surge just now, but then what happens when you've got all these people that, you know, are pointing the finger, and no, everyone will be going back to CrossFit then.
Yeah.
You know, it comes in fact, people will be walking. People will be power walking then. You know, you can't fucking do anything wrong if you're power walking. I mean,
that was like one of the things I was going to kind of touch on with you. Like, there is obviously this big kind of wave of that happening right now, and everybody getting into it, and like you're saying, it can ruin relationships and whatever else, but obviously you've got kind of like the natural side / non-natty side of the sport. And what do you think, like, young guys looking to start bodybuilding that are like, I see it like kind of within boys in the gym and boys I know and whatever else, because I'm obviously still at that severe beginner stage of training and whatever else, and I know so many boys that like are almost more concerned about the PEDs than the other training or the food or anything like that. And that doesn't go for everybody, but it's like a few, and it's like, wow, man, that's mad.
So again, I think that it's a case of like earning your stripes in a sense.
Yeah.
You don't just get started and start blasting steroids. It doesn't work like that. You have to. There's certain policies that I think you have, almost like a checklist in place. You have to be training for this amount of years. You have to. I would always work with a coach beforehand. Understand that the effects of these drugs is going to be enhanced through your behaviors.
Yeah.
Okay. The drugs are a catalyst. You know, it's not the be all and end all. You know, you cannot outgear a bad diet. You cannot outgear bad training. You cannot outgear bad recovery. You know, it's the icing on the cake in a sense.
Nobody won an Olympia for taking loads of gear.
Yeah.
Because I'd probably argue you've seen more guys over the years like shit on gear, but it's not because
the thing is, see the boys at the top of the game. They'll be the boys that are using the less gear.
Yeah.
You know, and that comes down to the genetics, and that's the harsh reality of this game. And you will always see those individuals that have a particular affinity to build muscle before they've even taken gear, before they've even taken PEDs. You know, unfortunately, in the politest and most respectful way possible, if you're someone watching this that is quite weedy and weedy is such a horrible word, I didn't mean it like that. I'm so sorry. If you're someone that's quite narrow through the clavicles, if you're someone that's quite small, man.
Says that as he dwarfs this
I know.
chair here.
I know. I didn't mean that. But if you are someone that's quite petite and small, you need to realise that it might not be the answer that you're looking for, and it might come with consequences down the line that you're not you're prepared to accept. I think there needs to be a checklist. I think people need to be aware that it's going to impact your mental state. I think people need to be aware that it's going to impact your capacity to have kids down the line. People need to be aware that it can promote coronary heart disease. The impact is so profound. And I think that having a coach that is sensible and able to coach you and explain to put you at ease is the biggest thing, and try and always get the least from the most, or the most from the least even. There's no rush here, no rush at all.
Don't just start taking mad amount of gear, boys.
No, there's no point, man. You'll only end up doing more damage to yourself. But just make sure you got the fundamentals nailed. Always. And I'm not going to sit here and say, if you're going to compete, as a bodybuilder, that is the only person that can take it, because there's some guys that fans going to Ibiza and just want to take a bit of PD.
Yep.
But as long as they're not causing any harm to anyone else, and they're being mindful of what they're doing, that's up to you. I think a lot of people try and say this is exclusively for people such as that, but the reality is that I'm sure if there was some statistics out there, I'd imagine that it's probably going to be those individuals that aren't even competing probably outweighs the number of people that using PEDs that don't compete outweighs those that probably do compete and use PEDs.
I would say just over most sport, in the last few years, obviously the most common one, or no common, but the one that most people probably be able to relate to is Paul Pogba. He got obviously tested, and I think I don't know if it was a test. I can't really remember, but I just feel
Paul Pogba was at partying.
Aye,
he was up to.
Aye, mate, I know.
You know what I mean? I also think Italy, probably one of the most corrupt countries in the world, are giving him 450 grand a week. They've put something in his cornflakes.
Mate, I cannot wait.
Doesn't want to play, doesn't want to do it, and Paul Pogba, there you go, son. Oh,
dude, I can't wait to see what happens in years to come out, man, because there has to be some sort of...
Think of all the sports over the years. You watched the
Chris, amazing. Shout Putin, man.
That's just cancelled now.
I know. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry.
No, it's enough, man. But you're right, man. It's that period of the UFC, Brock Lesnar and Alistair Overeem and all that shit, man. Just to the girls, man, beating the shit out of each other. That's funny, man.
It's in every sport, but as you said, it's the trade-off. And you've also got to bear in mind, these guys, top of the game, are some of the smartest people in the world responsible behind them.
And that's another thing as well, man, is make sure that your information is coming from the right person.
Yeah.
See if you've got any inkling at all that you think that the information isn't appropriate and concise and clear, and you don't think it's accurate, don't listen then. Don't, because it's not something that you should ever be toying with, ever. Don't take that risk.
Mm-hmm.
This is party drugs.
I know. Get full of Mandy, but no trend. That's all good.
So you're going to Ibiza full of trend.
I know. Well, that would be some combo. And high, bit of trend, bit of Mandy. Come on, the boys.
You're looking at 10 years for that.
I know.
That's a disaster.
Can't wait for my stag do this year, man. It's going to be great.
Oh, my God, man.
On that, I think we have a quick fire section that me and Tommy have created.
Fantastic.
I'm going to time it. And Tommy's going to read them out to you. You've got to get through as many as you can, this or that,
okay.
and we're going to see your answers for there.
Okay.
I'm quite excited to do this, to be honest, man.
Look sweaty here.
I'm going to get the timer ready. And
Right, so it's just a complete mix-up, mate. It literally goes from one extreme to the other.
No thinking, just whatever comes off your head. Give us it.
Okay.
Trainer test.
Is that the first question?
No.
Right, okay. I was getting ready. I was like, come on then.
Give him it, Tommy.
Right, hit me.
Cybex or Nautilus?
Cybex.
Free weights or machines?
Machines.
Bar squat or hack squat?
Hack.
Powerlifting or CrossFit?
Powerlifting.
Dumbbell press?
Powerlifting.
Dumbbell press or barbell bench press?
Oh, dumbbell.
Cutting or bolting?
Oh, they're both horrible. Bulking, probably.
Chicken or mince?
Chicken.
Alcohol or drugs?
Drugs.
Sweets or chocolate?
Honestly, I don't really fancy either of them. Probably chocolate, if I had to.
Right, okay. Ronnie or Arnie?
Roddy.
Kai Green or Phil?
Phil.
Brad Pitt or George Clooney?
Oh, George Clooney.
Missionary or reverse cowgirl?
Reverse cowgirl all day.
Celtic or Rangers?
Rangers. Bastard.
McDonald's or KFC?
Oh, come on, McDonald's, man. KFC's honking.
Chinese or Indian?
Indian.
Lidl or Aldi?
Oh, I think Lidl's one I usually go to.
Pick them up, Tommy.
Samson or Hardy?
Samson.
Sebum or Flex Wheeler?
Sebum.
Dorian or Jay?
Dorian.
Jai B's or Flex Unit?
Hey, that's enough. Time's up.
Thank God.
Oh, but man, they were classmates.
That was great.
I'm surprised you got through them that fast. I thought you would have.
Great. I'm sweating. It's all about big sweat patches. Christ.
What a guy, man. Oh.
So I've got a question for you boys.
Right, okay.
What's the vision of the podcast? Where do you want it to go? Where do you want to be?
Tommy, you want to answer?
I feel like just going forward, we need to maintain our morals to the podcast and keep it as like as
Don't
fitness
sell out.
related. Yes,
Stop.
that's it, mate. Aye. Nah, like I mean, even that shows us we're pointing in the right direction. Like
100%.
I'm sure I'm speaking for both of us. We're mad honoured, like, and mad appreciative of you, Neil, all the guys at Pit Stop, for obviously backing us in that sense, mate. And we've had nothing but positive feedback. So I think that going forward, we just need to maintain what we're doing. Like I said, stick to kind of our morals and try to educate, well, getting people to have a laugh, mate. Like, we want it to be easy to listen to. We want it to kind of cover everything. We want people to sit down and eat it with their dinner. We want people to be able to drive to work and listen to it. We want people, if they want to sit down and learn a bit about X, Y, and Z, like I'm sure this episode will be so beneficial to so many people, mate, just from yourself kind of covering stuff. Like, we want to keep progressing forward in that sense, mate, and keep it as consistent as we have been. Do you know what I mean?
There's this kind of underlying drive for both of us to get all young guys, get all anyone to raise your standards.
Aye.
You've seen that for me and Tommy are totally different in so many ways, but so similar. And we've come together and we've just had that wee flow of going, like sometimes people need that ability to know that somebody's been there, whether it's tough times, we just spoke about it in the podcast there, like, and knowing that things will get better. Yep. And when that is coming, you can lean on people around you and have a laugh along the way, because life doesn't have to just be big, boring bodybuilding in this case, or it can be what you make it to be. And I think that's the kind of goal behind the podcast, like getting on, having a laugh, being vulnerable sometimes. Yep. That's big, especially with guys. We feel better for it when we do it. We don't do it enough. And as I said, put a wee spring in your step. That's the whole thing there all.
Yep. Well, I mean, I think that for at least from where I'm sitting, I'm not just saying this to, grease up your dung pipes. But I can see the trajectory, man, and you guys are doing good, man. And I'm so happy that you guys have kept plugging it. What did we say about the other day about the podcast and the percents? How many don't get over 10?
90% don't get it past episode 10.
Mm-hmm.
5% only make it to episode 100.
Oh well.
So
smoke that, boys.
We are one episode away from being past the 90.
Yep.
And then we're just going to fucking annoy people till we get to 100 and see what happens.
I want to see this
again,
happen.
Relates back to the just stack days, whether it's bodybuilding, making a podcast, getting fit, just build that momentum, see what happens, take a bit of pressure off it. I never want to come in here and go, in 6 months, I want to have a sponsor and I want to do this, I want to do that. Like,
just organic.
Enjoy it, laugh, get people on you can spend time with, you want to do, and sometimes just see what happens, because I think that's big, whether it's anything. Like,
just roll with the punches, see what happens.
If you can stick with it for long enough, then something good will come back to you.
110%.
I think you said it earlier, like, and you just said it again, like the organicness of it. Like, I don't want to do podcasts for results of anything. I want to do podcasts because I fucking like doing podcasting, mate.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I want to do it. There's nothing like, obviously.
I feel like it's so funny you can just do something because you want to do it.
No.
Eh?
I know.
And there's also that, how many people, and that's again the reason for doing a podcast, how many people don't do something because
too many, mate.
To get what people think
Dude,
of
that
them.
was the issue that I had for years, man. I was too heavily invested in what people. I remember I put up. I can vividly see the post. I remember put up a video of me squatting, and one of my mates sent me a DM taking the piss out of me. I thought it was a mate. It was not a mate. Not a mate at all. And I'm just kind of sat here now thinking about these moments stick with me.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, and it makes you realize that if you have something you want to do, you're in the driving seat of it. You have control over it.
Yep.
Don't listen to anyone else. Follow your passion, follow your heart, follow your desires. Life is for you, not for anyone else. And you know, don't let time go by. You know, time waits for no man at all. I'm going to be 28 in 2 weeks. You know, which is meant to be 30 in 2 years, bro.
I think he's 28-year-old.
Oh goodness! But but still, I still feel like I've got no time left.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to capitalize on it. I feel like people would be shocked at what a productive 6 months can do to their life. It can totally influence the trajectory.
Aye,
You know?
that, even if it's that mental battle we talk about, spending the time doing that, it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
Physical, whatever it may be, like, it's so unglamorous. And bodybuilding, I think, is a great perception of that because you are
Delayed
solely
gratification,
hut
man.
with a
Yeah.
realisation that shit takes time.
Yep. I think a lot of people as well, I don't know if you find this as well, but they get kind of like disheartened when you give them timelines. Because like, Taylor, I want to do this, I want to do this. And I'm like, look, I'm going to be realistic here. You've probably got about 2.5 year window ahead of you. And they're like, oh, is that it? Really? You know, you're never as big as what you think you are.
Yep.
You always carry more weight
Yep.
than what you think you are. And I think that's quite refreshing.
I agree.
You know, because it forces you to persistently up your standards, and because there will come a point where you've got the muscle you think you have, and you're holding the condition that you want to have consistently, but it's a slow burner,
Yeah.
a very slow burner. You know, I'm now looking at myself thinking, okay, I actually look like a bodybuilder year round now, but like people forget that I've been training since I was 13, 14.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's 15 years near enough, man.
When
that's
you,
good going.
I think when you get there, you don't kick yourself. You just go, that it was meant to happen at this time. Sometimes when you are that young guy and you go, fuck, why am I not at this point or that point? And you'll get there, but only if you go through the principles that we've maybe spoke about today of stack of days.
And it's so much more rewarding as well. Actually having to fight for something. Like I can remember the emotion of winning so vividly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just going back to what we're saying about like meditation. There's nothing else in your mind apart from that current emotion.
Yep.
It's beautiful. And only so many people can actually experience it because only so many people have actually given their all to something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you're never going to feel alive more than that in your life. Even thinking about it, I'm getting like fucking goosebumps.
I love that, mate. I do.
You know?
Taylor, on this podcast,
Yes.
we have a tradition where we ask each other questions. Obviously, you're the first guest. I mean, Tommy, nobody really cares because we can ask each other questions next week. We've both wrote a question out that we want to ask you. I've went for the more serious approach. Tommy's went for the
Wouldn't
most
expect
humorous.
anything less.
So we'll give you both of them. Tommy's at the top. So
Thanks,
if
sir.
you could open Tommy's first,
Appreciate you.
read it out, and then give us your answer, and then we'll move on to mine. After that, we'll wrap things up.
Was this you that read it or a 2-year-old child?
Aye, that's me, mate. Aye, that is the right one.
Wait till you see how he's folded it.
Mate, I know. What did you
An
say? I was trying to
origami
do?
swan.
Nah, that's what it said.
What is the funniest thing that happened in high school? Is this like embarrassing?
Like anything, aye. What's something that was just, I don't know, mate. What's something that was funny that happened in high school that's still in your mind?
It wasn't funny, but something that I still regret to this day. So I can't remember his name. He was the deputy head.
Right.
And where I am in school, I was at the top of so it was like a three flights of stairs.
Yeah.
And I was at this top, and I was maybe in like 3rd or 4th year. This is disgusting, by the way. Like this is, I am a boy. I'm just like a boy's boy. And do you know that way when you spit and you try and catch it? well, I was leaning over the banister, and all of my mates were there, and I was like, I wonder how far I could go. And then all of a sudden, I hear the door open. I can just hear like the clogs of the shoes, like the hard sole of the smart of just like shoes.
Yep.
And I didn't realise it was the deputy head coming in, and I'm sat there leaning over the banister, like with this bloody almighty thing dangling from my mouth. And as soon as I see his foot, I go to nip it and pull it in, and it drops and just lands right in front of him.
Oh,
And
I think I
that's-
say lands in his head.
No, that's the scope of it. That's like I wasn't that bad in school. I was a bit cheeky, but nothing really. I was, apart from getting called like Family Guy because I had a bum chin. But beyond that, it was fine. Yeah, thanks, Kirk. It's funny, mate, 'cause he inquired for coaching beforehand, and I was just like, see ya. I was like, go make bum chin yourself now, lad. I know.
Oh, that's funny, man.
Probably that one. It was like, again, nothing bad. Right, second one.
You need a serious question in there.
Aye, definitely, man.
I really wish something funny had happened because that wasn't really funny. That was kind of just disgusting. Right. What age did you lose your virginity?
That's a serious question.
I was actually 15. I was 15.
Fucking another horny boy.
I feel like that's like a fair age. You
Aye,
know?
mate. You get the wee guys, mate, in first year, man, that are just fucking crazy down the park, man.
Oh,
God,
yeah.
mental.
Those are the same guys that we masturbating since like 5. Do you know what I mean? Huge forearms, probably had like mustaches. You know what I mean?
Bum chins.
I know, yeah, bum chins, yeah. That was me. Yeah, I was 15, man. Good times.
There you go.
I think it was a couple of days before my 16th birthday.
Ah, that's sick, man. Get it to 16,
I
man.
know.
You're like, yes.
I know.
Right, we
fucking
don't need any details. Your missus will be listening.
Nah.
I know.
On that front, I think we want to wrap up. Like we said, Taylor, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you
I
both,
don't
man.
doubt you'll be on again at some point.
I'd absolutely love to. It's been a pleasure, man. And I am very fond of both of you, man. And I just want to thank you for the time. Hopefully there was some good value. This is first time we've been on a podcast together. I feel like there's plenty more that we could definitely dip into.
Yeah.
So I'd love to jump on again if you guys would like to have me.
100%, mate.
Get into it.
Right, to end this podcast, we also stand up, we give each other a big cuddle. So we'll do that and we'll wrap it up for the day.
Are we actually, are we 3-way hug?
Aye,
Okay,
aye,
let's
we
go
will.
then.
Also, use code TNT10 if you
No.
want it to be touched up.
Yeah.
Do not use code Taylor10. No, I'm kidding.
I'll let you have this one. I'll let you have it.
What a guy.
Thank
Get
you, boys.
up.
Oh my God, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.